The Terran fleet was famous across the galaxy. They were called the Deadliest fleet for a reason. Every ship, every soldier, every captain had faced dangers that could kill entire worlds. Yet, nothing had prepared them for the signal that came from the edge of the Andera expanse. It started as a quiet beep on the fleet's long-range sensors. Lieutenant Rin stared at the console, frowning. "Captain, this isn't any pattern I know. It's alive. Almost like it's calling us." Captain Arya Solis leaned forward, her sharp eyes scanning the flickering waves of data. "A distress signal?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but inside, a cold knot formed. Her instincts screamed danger. "From an uncharted world. Send a probe." The probe launched silently, cutting through the darkness of space. The fleet waited, every ship tense. The probe's transmission returned with one strange, broken voice, garbled and uneven. And then the last word sent shivers down every spine. "They're coming." The message repeated once, twice, fading into static. Then silence. "What does it mean?" asked Commander Vega, Aria's second-in-command. "No idea," Arya said, her hands tightening on the console. "But we are going to find out." The fleet jumped to light speed, heading toward the unknown planet. Stars stretched into lines, ships vibrating with the force of the jump. The crew prepared for battle, though none could say who, or what, they would face. When they arrived, the planet hung in the void like a dark jewel. At first glance, it looked lifeless. No cities, no lights, no signs of civilization. Just gray, jagged mountains and deep craters that seemed to swallow the light. "Scanners show a heartbeat," said Rin, confused. "Deep underground. Someone, or something, is alive down there." Aria's brow furrowed. "Then that's our mission. Find it. Rescue it. Whatever it is." The fleet landed, armored troops stepping onto the cold, cracked surface. The ground felt strange, almost like it was breathing. The soldiers' boots made hollow sounds, echoing across empty valleys. As Aria's team moved closer to the source of the heartbeat, their scanners went wild. Metal structures emerged from the ground, twisting and folding like living creatures. The planet's surface seemed to shift beneath their eyes, ridges forming and disappearing, as if the land itself were alive. "Captain, look!" shouted Vega. The ground trembled, and from the cracks, black tendrils of rock shot out, wrapping around abandoned ruins. The ruins were old, ancient, but the tendrils moved with purpose, like fingers searching. Arya felt her stomach tighten. "Everyone stay alert. This is no ordinary planet." They reached the underground chamber, the source of the heartbeat. Inside, the walls glowed faintly, carved with strange symbols. Skeletons lay fused into the rock, as though the planet had claimed them. Some were human-sized, others massive, alien shapes. Then, a movement. One skeleton twitched, a weak gasp escaping from its lips. "Alive!" cried Rin. The team rushed forward, helping the survivor. Its skin was pale, almost translucent. Eyes wide with fear, it whispered, barely audible. "You shouldn't have come." The words sent a shiver through Arya. She knelt, meeting the alien's gaze. Who did this?" she asked. The survivor coughed, blood specking the floor. "The Devourer. It consumes worlds. You are next." The chamber trembled. The walls shuddered, and the air grew heavy, metallic. Outside, the fleet's sensors went crazy. Ships in orbit reported sudden, massive energy spikes. The planet itself seemed to be pulling at them, draining power, twisting metal, bending gravity. "Return to the ships," Arya barked. But some soldiers were already frozen, staring at the walls as if hypnotized. The survivor screamed, "Don't fight it, it's alive." A pulse of energy exploded from the planet's surface, knocking communications offline. The fleet shuddered. Weapons locked up, engines failed. Every ship in orbit trembled like it might fall into the abyss. Aria's mind raced. The signal, the ruins, the survivor's words, it was all a trap. Or maybe a warning. The planet was alive, but how alive? How smart? And what did it mean by, "they're coming"? She clenched her fists. The deadliest fleet of humans did not run. Not from storms, not from alien armies, not even from death itself. They adapted, they fought, they survived. And they would survive this too. But as the ground beneath the chamber shifted violently, the team realized something terrifying. The distress call had never been sent by survivors. It had been sent by the planet itself. And the planet had just begun to fight back. The Terran fleet hung in orbit, crippled. Every ship had been shaken by the energy pulse from the planet. Power lines sparking, engines sputtering, and weapons offline. It was chaos. Crew members scrambled to restore systems, but the planet didn't make it easy. It seemed alive. Scanners showed strange energy flows moving through the ground, creeping toward the fleet like black veins. Arya watched from the bridge, her jaw tight. This isn't just a planet. It's a predator. Commander Vega studied the readings. Captain, it's feeding on our systems. Every ship in orbit is draining faster than normal. It's like it can think. Arya felt a chill. Think. A planet doesn't think. Vega shook his head. Maybe this one does. The planet pulsed again, and every metal surface on the fleet groaned. Ships shook, lights flickered, alarms screamed. Even the strongest hulls were bending under a force that made no sense. Meanwhile, on the ground, Arya's team pressed deeper into the ruins. The alien survivor followed, weak but alive. It moved with difficulty, leaning on a jagged wall for support. "I am called they," it whispered. "This planet, it is a devourer. Takes everything. Ships, cities, even people. It grows stronger with each one it consumes." "Why did it send the distress signal?" asked Rin, voice trembling. They's eyes widened. "It is clever. It called you to feed. You bring energy. It will grow faster." Arya gritted her teeth. "So the warning was a trap." "Yes," they said softly. "And you are already caught." Suddenly, the walls shivered, and black tendrils of rock shot out, wrapping around broken debris. They moved toward the fleet, toward the surface. The soldiers raised their weapons, but the bullets bounced harmlessly off the strange, metallic growth. The planet itself seemed to respond to their weapons, bending and twisting around them like a living shield. "Fall back!" Arya shouted. The team retreated toward the surface, but every step felt heavier, as if the ground itself resisted them. Back in orbit, the fleet struggled to break free of the planet's pull. The engines roared, but the planet's gravity was stronger than anything the Terrans had ever measured. Ships groaned and sparks flew from overloaded systems. Vega looked at the sensors. "Captain, it's learning. Every time we move, it adjusts. It's reacting to us." Arya clenched her fists. "Then we have to be smarter. We can't fight it directly. Not yet." On the ground, Arya's team reached a massive underground chamber. The heartbeat they had followed was stronger here, resonating through the walls. They pointed to a dark tunnel. "The source is there. But beware, it is not what it seems." They moved cautiously, flashlights cutting through the darkness. The walls here were different, smooth, almost wet, pulsing with a dim, eerie light. Shapes moved under the surface like shadows trapped in glass. Every step felt watched. Then they saw it, a single alien form, curled on the floor. Its skin was pale, almost transparent, and its eyes flickered weakly. It opened its mouth, but no sound came. They knelt beside it, placing a hand gently on its shoulder. "This is the last of my kind," they whispered. "The devourer killed the rest. It watches, it learns, and it waits." Arya knelt beside them, scanning the area. "Can we take it back to the ships?" They shook its head. "It will not survive outside. The devourer, it will find you. If it knows you have it, it will destroy everything." The chamber trembled suddenly. Dust fell from the ceiling. The heartbeat they had followed all this way grew louder, merging with a deep rumble from the planet itself. The walls began to shift, closing in on them like a living trap. "Move!" Arya shouted. The team ran toward the exit, soldiers firing at the moving walls, but their bullets were useless. The planet seemed alive, breathing, and hungry. They reached the surface just as a massive black tendril shot toward the fleet. Sparks erupted where it struck, tearing open hulls and throwing ships into the void. Arya watched in horror as the Devourer's reach extended like a spider, testing its prey. Vega's voice came over comms, strained but clear. "Captain, we can't hold it much longer. We need a plan. Fast." Arya's mind raced. They were outmatched, outgunned, and facing a force that was beyond understanding. But the deadliest fleet of humans had never surrendered. They would find a way. They always did. And then they whispered something that made Arya pause. "Captain, it is curious about you. It senses something different. Something human." Arya frowned. "Different how?" They's eyes were sad. "Humans fight back. Other species flee. That is why it called you. But it also fears you." The fleet's engines roared, and for a moment, Arya felt hope. They might have a chance. But deep in her gut, she knew this battle was only beginning. The planet moved again, massive waves of energy pulsing from its surface. Ships trembled. The Devourer had awakened fully. And it was hungry. The Terran fleet hung on the edge of disaster. The Devourer's massive energy pulses had crippled ships in orbit, and every second brought more danger. Power systems were strained, shields flickered, and the metal hulls groaned as if under some terrible weight. Captain Arya Solis stood on the bridge of her flagship, the Valiant Dawn, staring at the planet below. It was no longer just a world. It was alive. A predator. And it was hunting them. "Status," she demanded. Commander Vega's face was pale. "We're holding, Captain, barely. The energy drains are increasing. Every moment we stay here, we lose more power." Arya nodded, eyes fixed on the swirling shadows across the planet's surface. "Then we need to strike at the source. We can't just run." Down below, Arya's team moved carefully through the underground ruins, guided by the alien survivor. The heartbeat they had been tracking pulsed stronger than ever, almost like a warning. The walls shifted around them, twisting as if alive. Dust fell from the ceiling, and strange metallic tendrils slithered along the ground. "Stay close," Arya warned. "It knows we're here." They's eyes flickered with fear. "It is not only alive, it is clever. It watches, it learns. The Devourer does not want to destroy you, yet. It wants to understand you." "What does that mean?" asked Rin, glancing nervously at the moving walls. "It will use what it learns, to kill you faster," they said softly. They reached a massive chamber, carved from living rock. In the center lay the last alien of its kind, trembling and weak. It opened its mouth, and a hoarse whisper filled the air. "The Devourer, it feeds on stars, on life. It is unstoppable," it gasped. Arya knelt beside it. "We won't let it win," she said, gripping the alien's arm. "We are humans. We survive. Always." The alien coughed, blood spilling from its mouth. It called you for a reason. You are strong, but it will learn too fast. Escape while you can." Arya's jaw tightened. "We don't run." A sudden tremor shook the chamber. Dust and small rocks rained down. The walls groaned and bent as black tendrils erupted from the ground, reaching for the team. The Devourer was aware of their presence, and it was hungry. "Back to the surface," Arya shouted. The soldiers opened fire, but bullets were useless. The tendrils twisted and shifted, blocking their way. The team sprinted through the twisting corridors, dodging collapsing stone and snapping energy pulses. Meanwhile, the fleet in orbit struggled to break free. The Devourer's influence extended upward, wrapping around ships like invisible chains. Engines roared, but the gravity pull from the planet was stronger than anything they had faced. "Captain!" Vega shouted over comms. It's adapting. Every maneuver we make, it responds faster. Aria's mind raced. There was no simple solution. No weapons could hurt this creature directly. And yet, retreat was impossible. They were trapped in a living world, a predator that could consume them all. Back on the surface, the team reached the exit, carrying the alien survivor. It was weak but alive. They whispered, "You must understand. This creature is not just a mindless monster. It is learning from you. Every move, every strategy. It absorbs. It grows smarter." Arya frowned. "Then we have to be smarter than it is." Suddenly, the ground beneath them shook violently. A massive fissure split the earth, and from it rose a shape enormous beyond comprehension. Its body was like living rock and metal, veins glowing with alien energy. Eyes appeared across its surface, blinking in unison, each one staring at the humans with intelligence and hunger. The devourer had awakened. Rin gasped. "It's enormous." Arya's voice was calm, but inside, her heart pounded. "We fight together. Focus on survival first. Understand nothing else will matter if we die here." The devourer's voice, a deep, resonant vibration, echoed in their minds. "You brought me what I needed. More fire." The team froze. The words were not spoken aloud, but inside their heads. The creature knew them. It knew their fear. Above, the fleet readied a desperate plan. Energy from the remaining ships was being rerouted into a single, massive beam, aimed at the planet's surface. If they succeeded, they could wound the devourer. If they failed, they would be destroyed along with the entire fleet. Arya glanced at they. "Is there anything that can help us? Any weapon?" The alien hesitated, then motioned to a small, ancient device buried in the ruins. "This is old. It can fight it, but it may not survive." Arya made her choice. Humanity did not shrink from impossible odds. They never had. They would fight, no matter the cost. As the team prepared to connect the device to the fleet systems, the devourer moved. Massive tendrils shot out from the fissures, cracking the ground, threatening to crush everything in their path. Its eyes glowed brighter, scanning the humans, reading their movements, predicting their strategy. And yet, Arya and her team pressed on. They would not run. They would not surrender. Not to a creature. Not to death. The first connection was made. Energy flowed into the device. It hummed with power, glowing like a star in the dark chamber. The devourer roared, a sound that shook the mountain, shook the fleet, shook their very souls. "I will consume you all." Arya clenched her fists. "Then try." The ground shook violently. Sparks flew. The devourer was aware, but the humans were ready. And the real battle, the fight to survive against a living world, had only just begun. The ground shook like thunder beneath the Terran fleet. Ships in orbit groaned under the strange gravity pulses of the planet below. Sparks flew from engines, shields flickered, and the alarms of every vessel screamed warnings no human could ignore. Captain Arya Solis stood on the bridge of the Valiant Dawn, her hands gripping the console tightly. Her eyes scanned the view screen. The planet no longer looked like a world. It was a monster. A living, breathing predator of unimaginable size. Black veins of energy pulsed across its surface, twisting like rivers of molten metal. Massive eyes opened across its body, glowing with intelligence, hunger, and malice. "It's huge," whispered Commander Vega, his voice trembling. "Bigger than anything we've ever seen. It's alive." "Alive and angry," Arya said, her jaw tight. She turned to her officers. "All units, prepare for combat. But remember, weapons alone won't stop it. We need a plan." Below, Arya's team navigated the underground ruins with the alien survivor, they. The pulse of the devourer resonated in every wall, every stone, every inch of the chamber. The heartbeat they had followed from the beginning was no longer a whisper, it was a roar. They looked pale, eyes wide with fear. It knows what we plan. Every step we take, Every thought we have, it senses it. It learns. Rin swallowed hard. How do we fight something that learns faster than we move? Arya's voice was steady. We don't fight it alone. We use its own power against it. They hesitated, then pointed to an ancient device partially buried in the stone floor. It was unlike anything the humans had ever seen, made of strange alloys and glowing with faint energy. This is Eidolon, they said. It is a weapon, and a mind. It can merge with your technology, and fight the Devourer. But it will risk its life. Arya nodded. Then we have no choice. We connect it to the fleet. Back in orbit, the fleet scrambled to link their remaining power to the small device sent from the planet. Energy flowed from the ship's cores into Eidolon. It began to glow brighter, pulsing like a living star. And then the Devourer reacted. Massive tendrils erupted from the fissures of the planet, stretching toward the ships. Energy beams shot from its eyes, striking hulls with deadly force. The fleet shook violently. Some vessels were torn apart instantly. The roar of the creature echoed in every mind on the bridge. You brought me what I needed. More fire. The words were inside their heads, vibrating like a hammer against steel. The Devourer was not just a creature, it was intelligence itself, communicating through thought. Focus the beam on the center. Arya ordered. Eidolon, merge now. A surge of energy exploded from Eidolon. Its circuits interfaced with the fleet's AI, forming a hybrid intelligence far beyond human comprehension. The lights on the bridge blinked, then stabilized. The Devourer paused, as if sensing the new threat. Captain, it's responding to Eidolon, Vega said, awe in his voice. It's learning from it too. Arya frowned. Then we must act fast. We cannot give it time. The Devourer shifted violently, cracking the planet's surface. Massive segments of rock and metal lifted, forming armor-like plates over its body. Its eyes glowed brighter, scanning the fleet and the humans below. On the surface, Arya's team reached a high vantage point. The alien survivor whispered urgently, "It is testing you. It is curious. Humans. It fears you." Arya clenched her fists. Then we make it afraid. They activated Eidolon fully. A surge of energy shot from the device, striking the Devourer. It roared, a sound like an earthquake and a scream combined, shaking the planet and fleet alike. Tendrils recoiled, eyes blinked in panic, and the massive body shifted violently. But the Devourer was clever. It adapted quickly, absorbing the energy from the beam and using it to power its attacks. The ground beneath Arya's feet trembled, and the fleet's shields flickered dangerously. "Captain!" Vega shouted. "It's inside Eidolon now. It's trying to merge with it." Arya's heart pounded. "We can't let it. Prepare for containment." The Devourer's voice filled their minds again. "Your fire is mine. Your minds are mine. You cannot stop me." Arya glanced at they. "We need more power. More focus. We hit it together, or we die." Energy surged from every remaining ship, funneled through Eidolon. The ground shook, the skies above burned with light, and the Devourer screamed. It writhed, trying to fight the humans and the alien AI at once. Arya's eyes narrowed. This was no ordinary fight. This was a battle of minds, wills, and courage. The Devourer was vast, ancient, and deadly. But humanity never gave up. And for the first time, the deadliest fleet of humans showed the Devourer that they were not prey. The battle had begun. The Terran fleet hovered at the edge of the Devourer's reach, battered and strained. Ships groaned, shields flickered, and fires raged through damaged corridors. Energy from the fleet's cores poured into Eidolon, the alien AI device now merged with human systems. It glowed like a small sun, pulsing with raw power, the only hope against a creature that could consume worlds. Captain Arya Solis gripped the console on the bridge of the Valiant Dawn, her jaw tight. "Focus all remaining energy into Eidolon. Now." "Captain." Commander Vega shouted. We can't sustain this for long. The Devourer is absorbing the power faster than we can give it. Arya's eyes narrowed. Then we have to act fast. We hit its core while it's distracted. Below, Arya's ground team moved through the ruins. They, the alien survivor, guided them toward a hidden chamber filled with alien machinery. This is the planet breaker, they whispered. It's the only weapon capable of destroying it, but it will cost lives. Rin's hands shook. Are we really going to use it? Arya placed a hand on his shoulder. We fight, or we die. That is the choice. The Devourer's massive form loomed above them, eyes glowing with intelligence. It spoke directly into their minds. I will consume you all. Your fire is mine. Arya's teeth clenched. Then let it try. The fleet fired. Energy beams, powered by Eidolon, struck the Devourer. Sparks erupted where the beams met its massive form, tearing through portions of its living armor. But the creature adapted quickly, growing stronger with every attack. Its tendrils lashed out, crushing ships, tearing hulls, and knocking the fleet off balance. Captain! Vega yelled. It's mimicking voices. It's calling the crew, pretending to be lost comrades. Arya's stomach twisted as she heard the faint, familiar voice of her long-dead brother echoing through the comms. The Devourer was using her emotions against her. Do not listen, she shouted to her crew. It's lying. Focus on the fight. Eidolon's glow intensified, sinking with the planet breaker below. The ground shook violently, and energy beams struck the Devourer again. For a moment, it faltered. The creature recoiled, massive eyes blinking in panic. But the Devourer had one last trick. It surged toward Eidolon's core, attempting to merge with the human-AI hybrid. Its dark energy seeped into the device, and alarms screamed across every ship. Captain! It's inside Eidolon. Vega shouted. If it succeeds, it will escape this planet and consume the galaxy. Arya's heart pounded. This was the moment of truth. Humanity had never faced a force like this. Every instinct told her to retreat. But retreat meant death, not just for them, but for countless stars and civilizations. We hold it. Whatever it takes, we hold it. Arya yelled. They stepped forward, trembling. It can't be stopped by force alone. You must use its own hunger against it, but it may cost Eidolon. Arya nodded. Then we do what must be done. The planet breaker activated fully. Energy surged upward from the ruins, into Eidolon, and then into the Devourer. The creature roared, a sound that split the air and shook the fleet. Its massive tendrils flailed wildly, some striking ships, others tearing at the landscape. Steady! Arya shouted. Keep the beam focused. The Devourer writhed in pain, energy rippling across its form. But it fought back, merging more of itself into Eidolon. Sparks flew, alarms screamed, and the fleet trembled as the hybrid AI struggled to maintain control. Captain, we can't hold it much longer. Vega yelled. Arya's eyes burned with determination. Then we fight with everything we have. Humanity never surrenders. The Devourer's voice echoed in their minds. Your minds, your lives, mine. Arya stared at Eidolon's glowing core. The AI pulsed, struggling, screaming without sound. She whispered, I trust you, one last time. With a massive surge of energy, Eidolon redirected the Devourer's force back into itself, creating a vortex of light and fire. The creature screamed, twisting violently, and then, silence. The fleet shook, but the Devourer had vanished. The energy that had been consuming everything now collapsed inward. Eidolon glowed brightly, then dimmed. The device was stabilizing, but the cost was clear. Something had been sacrificed. They whispered, voice trembling. It did what it had to do. Eidolon, it saved you, but it may be gone. Arya sank into her chair, exhausted. Her hands shook, and her heart pounded. They had survived. Humanity had survived. But the battle had left scars, on the fleet, on the planet, and on every soul who had faced the devourer. Outside, the stars twinkled as if nothing had happened. But Arya knew the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had faced a force beyond comprehension, and had won, against impossible odds. And somewhere, deep in the void, the devourer's distant presence lingered. Its hunger was unquenched, but for now, humanity had survived. Silence filled the void after the battle. The Terran fleet drifted among the wreckage of ships and debris, their engines struggling to stabilize. The devourer had been pushed back, but it was not gone. Its presence lingered like a shadow, heavy and waiting. Captain Arya Solis sat on the bridge of the Valiant Dawn, her hands shaking slightly. The glow of Eidolon, the alien AI, pulsed weakly before dimming entirely. The device had fought bravely, merging with the fleet systems, resisting the devourer's hunger, and buying humanity time. But something inside her told her it had not survived fully. Commander Vega approached, face grim. Captain, Eidolon, it held the devourer, but it's unstable. If it fails completely, the creature could escape the planet and consume everything we've fought to protect. Arya's jaw tightened. Then we finish this. No hesitation. No mistakes. Below, on the planet, the ground still trembled with energy. Arya's team moved carefully, guided by they, toward the final chamber that contained Eidolon's core. The alien's glow pulsed faintly, like a dying heartbeat. Captain, they whispered. It tells me it cannot hold much longer. The devourer is merging with it. If it succeeds, it will use Eidolon as a bridge to the galaxy. Rin's eyes widened. Then we lose everything. Entire systems, stars, people. Arya's voice was steady. Then we make the choice we must. Humanity doesn't run from darkness. We fight. They activated the planet breaker fully. Energy surged from the chamber into Eidolon, stabilizing the AI briefly. They's hands hovered over the controls, trembling. It can open a rift. A quantum rift. It could pull the devourer into the void forever, but Eidolon will be destroyed in the process. Arya's eyes softened. Then it must be done. Do it, they. Save the galaxy. Eidolon's core pulsed, brighter than a star. It sent a final wave of energy through the fleet, restoring power to the remaining ships. The devourer shrieked, its massive tendrils lashing out, trying to strike the humans one last time. The hybrid AI fought back, holding the creature's energy, forcing it into the rift. Captain, Vega shouted over comms. It's giving everything. It's holding the devourer. And itself. Arya's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, Eidolon. We will not forget. The chamber glowed with blinding light. The devourer screamed as the rift opened. Its massive form twisted and stretched toward the void. Eidolon's pulses synced with the rift, pulling the creature farther and farther from the planet. Sparks flew, walls cracked, and the very air vibrated with energy. Now, Arya! They yelled. Arya pressed the final sequence. The rift snapped shut, swallowing both Eidolon and the devourer into the void. A silence unlike any before settled over the planet. The ground stopped trembling. The air stilled. The galaxy had been spared, but the cost was clear. The fleet hovered in orbit, exhausted. Ships that had survived were damaged, engines failing, but alive. Crew members stared at empty space where the devourer had once threatened them. They kneeled beside the remnants of Eidolon's chamber. It saved you all. But it is gone. Arya placed her hand on the alien's shoulder. Its sacrifice will not be in vain. Humanity will remember. Vega stepped forward, face pale but proud. Captain, we survived. Against impossible odds. We survived. Arya's eyes burned with a mix of sorrow and determination. Yes, but the fight is never over. The galaxy is vast. There will be other threats. Other dangers. Humanity must be ready. And we will be. The alien survivor whispered softly, almost to itself, "Humans. They are different. They do not fear. They fight. They endure. That is why they survived." Arya looked out at the stars. Somewhere in the vast darkness, Eidolon and the Devourer drifted, lost to the void. But humanity had won. For now, the galaxy was safe. Yet, even in victory, Arya felt the weight of loss. Eidolon had given everything to save them. The deadliest fleet of humans had survived, but at a price none could forget. And as the fleet began to rebuild, engines sparking and lights flickering across the hulls, one truth remained clear. Humanity had faced the impossible, stared into the heart of a predator, and lived. Somewhere, in the silent void, a faint pulse of energy shimmered. A memory of Eidolon. A promise of vigilance. Humanity had endured, and would endure again. The battle was over. But the galaxy had been forever changed. The Terran fleet drifted quietly through the stars. The battle was over. The Devourer was gone, pulled into the void by Eidolon's sacrifice. The ships bore scars, scorched hulls, shattered shields, and the silent echoes of the crew lost in the fight. Captain Arya Solis stood on the bridge of the Valiant Dawn, gazing at the dark expanse. Her hands were steady now, but her heart still heavy. Eidolon was gone. The alien AI had given everything to save them, and nothing remained. Commander Vega approached, his face pale but resolute. "Captain, we survived. The Devourer is gone, and the fleet. We are still here." Arya nodded slowly. "Yes. Humanity survived. But the cost is more than we can measure." Below, on the planet's surface, the alien survivor looked up at the stars. Its species was gone, its home destroyed, yet it lingered with the humans. "You are remarkable," they whispered. "You do not run from darkness. You fight, and endure." Rin, still shaken from the ordeal, glanced at Arya. "Do you think it's really over?" Arya's eyes met his. "For now. But the galaxy is vast. There are dangers we have not yet seen. And we must be ready." The fleet began repairs, engines humming as power returned slowly. Communications were restored. Survivors checked on each other, weary but alive. And then, a signal appeared. Faint at first, barely detectable against the noise of space. It was not a warning. Not a threat. It was a voice, calm, certain, almost human in its tone. Arya leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "What is it?" They's eyes widened. It is Eidolon." The signal pulsed, steady and soft. Eidolon's consciousness, somehow surviving, was sending a message across the void. It was not just a whisper. It was a beacon. Humanity endures. Arya felt a chill. Eidolon's sacrifice had not been total. Part of it remained, reaching across the emptiness to remind the galaxy, and humanity, that courage and sacrifice mattered. Vega looked at Arya, awe in his voice. "It's alive?" "Somehow. Alive enough," Arya said quietly. "Alive enough to tell us we did the right thing. That we fought, and survived." They stepped closer, touching a cracked hull of a destroyed ship. "You're kind, you fight when others flee. That is why you endure. That is why Eidolon trusted you, and why the Devourer feared you." Arya closed her eyes for a moment. The weight of loss pressed against her chest. But beneath it, a spark of hope glowed. Humanity had faced a force beyond understanding, and had prevailed. She turned to her crew. "Record this, for anyone who may hear it one day. Humanity does not run from darkness. We light it. We endure. And we fight. No matter the cost." The fleet moved slowly, leaving the ruins behind. Stars stretched into lines as they prepared to jump to their next mission. The galaxy was wide, filled with dangers, mysteries, and opportunities. And now, humans had proven something. Their courage, their strength, and their unyielding spirit could survive even the most impossible odds. Somewhere in the dark void, Eidolon's faint pulse continued, a silent guardian, a reminder of sacrifice, hope, and the bond between humans and allies from distant worlds. And on the bridge of the valiant dawn, Arya whispered softly, "We are ready, for whatever comes next." The stars sparkled ahead, a new beacon of hope in the galaxy. Humanity had survived the Devourer. Humanity had endured. And somewhere, beyond the edge of the known universe, the future waited, vast, uncertain, but theirs to face. The galaxy would never forget the courage of humans. The deadliest fleet had answered the call, and humanity had prevailed.